Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Today I want to discuss the Season 8 premiere of the HBO mega-hit series Game of Thrones, as well as the preview teaser for next week. There will be spoilers in this video, so viewers, if you aren't caught up on all of Game of Thrones, please be warned, the spoilers are about to start.
I've given her justice, an army, and the Iron Fleet. Yet, she gives me no sign of affection.
I don't know how to ride a dragon.
Nobody does, until they ride a dragon.
My heart is nearly broken.
What if he doesn't want me to?
Then I've enjoyed your company, Jon Snow.
You enjoy risking your neck, don't you?
Life is boring.
You're not boring. We could stay 1,000 years. No one would find us.
Do I please the Queen?
You might be the most arrogant man I've ever met.
It's cold up here for a southern girl.
So keep your queen warm.
So the season premiere had a lot of table setting, with a lot of different pieces being set into motion. With the two main factions among the living, each side has a budding romance at its highest level of leadership. Daenerys and Jon have that whole lovey-dovey vibe thing going on, whereas Cersei and Euron have something that comes across as a great deal filthier. Not just physically filthier, but also emotionally, spiritually, and in every other way imaginable. There are polar dynamics at play here in these pairings, but I perceive the purity of the bond between Daenerys and Jon as a weakness. Cersei and Euron are both fully aware of the other's long-term scheming motives. Daenerys and Jon are both naive, and they're far less calculating. Beyond that, Cersei and Euron are almost certainly having more fun in the bedroom. Advantage Cersei and Euron. Long live Queen Cersei.
I warned you. Northerners don't much trust outsiders. My sister, Sansa Stark, the Lady of Winterfell.
Thank you for inviting us into your home, Lady Stark.
You left Winterfell a king and came back a... I'm not sure what you are now.
The North is as beautiful as your brother claimed. As are you.
We named you King in the North.
Winterfell is yours, Your Grace. Your sister doesn't like me.
She doesn't know you.
I will stand behind Jon Snow, he said. The King in the North.
I offered to let him retain his lands and titles if he bent the knee. Your brother stood with your father.
She executed my father and brother. They were prisoners.
Dracarys.
The next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother.
It's time to tell Jon the truth.
You are Aegon Targaryen, true heir to the Iron Throne.
The Daenerys-Jon union is already littered with many potential conflicts in the not-so-distant future. For starters, the North doesn't trust Daenerys. She's a foreigner, their respect and trust in Jon Snow is way down, and Sansa Stark doesn't care too much for Daenerys. It's worth noting that Sansa is far more clever and calculating than Daenerys or Jon. Potentially further complicating matters is the fact that Dany's execution of Sam's family is making waves. And of course, the biggest potential obstacle in the making is the fact that Jon Snow now knows he's the true heir. And when he learns of this news, he looks more clueless than ever. So Daenerys and Jon may seem all lovey-dovey, but the conflicts are coming. I'm not sure if Jon has yet come to the realization that he's porking his aunt, so there's that angle of conflict as well. And even the preview for next week suggests further conflict on the horizon between Daenerys and Tyrion, compliments of the unannounced arrival of the Kingslayer. What will Tyrion make of this?
Our Queen's brothers are unlikely to survive their northern adventures, but in the event that they do...
There is still the question of my prize.
That's a lot of money I just gave you.
It's not a castle.
She has a keen sense of poetic justice.
That fucking family.
Bronn getting the responsibility of murdering Queen Cersei's traitorous brothers, should they survive whatever doom is forthcoming, this provides for an interesting twist. Bronn, as you know, is someone who has previously saved both Tyrion and Jaime from certain death. And beyond the fact he has a rather opportunistic nature, Bronn seemed to have had a genuine affection for both traitorous brothers. But at the end of the day, Bronn has always been a prize-fighting sellsword, whose main motivation was acquiring wealth. He previously took a chance on fighting for Tyrion because he saw all the upside, Lannister gold. Cersei is apparently providing him the chance for even more significant upside, something Bronn clearly believes is already past due. So we're probably going to find out if Bronn values these friendships with the brothers Lannister, or if it's all about getting his fucking castle. Holy shit! Theon rose to the occasion, and he saved his sister Yara. Well done, Theon. His sister gave him a loving headbutt for his prior cowardly abandonment, but then she sweetly helped him back up. The Greyjoy siblings seem primed on regaining Euron's stronghold, suggesting even that Daenerys might have to retreat south at some point. For the record, I'm assuming this will probably happen, and that the Unsullied will inevitably get their asses kicked in battle. With Euron engaged in his unholy courtship with Queen Cersei, he let his guard down, providing Theon and Yara with just the opening they needed. Meanwhile, Queen Cersei wants her elephants. She's having some fun with Euron Greyjoy, and she is just as cold and calculating as ever. But I continue to believe that Sansa Stark is the one transforming into a modern-day version of a prime Cersei.
She has something to live for now. I believe she wants to survive.
I used to think you were the cleverest man alive.
She doesn't like your queen, does she?
Sansa thinks she's smarter than everyone.
She's the smartest person I've ever met.
Did you bend the knee to save the North? Or because you love her?
Or you're defending her? You.
I'm defending our family.
She's not her father.
No, she's much prettier.
Sansa is just as cold and calculating as Cersei at this point, and it feels to me like she's making a power play of sorts. Sansa continues butting heads with Jon. She seemingly has the full faith of her badass younger sister, and her entire demeanor exudes a sense of scheming and planning while considering all of the possibilities in this current landscape of uncertainty. Sansa has contingency plans, and it will be interesting to see how Sansa reacts to the news of Jon's rightful claim, and it will also be equally interesting to see her stance with the Daenerys Kingslayer conflict we saw in next week's teaser.
You left me to die.
First I robbed you.
You're a cold little bitch, aren't you? Guess that's why you're still alive.
I agree with the Hound 100%. Arya is one cold little bitch. I think the Hound actually sensed what a formidable killer Arya has now become. I maintain that Arya is doomed this season. Revenge-driven characters just don't fare well in this world. And while Arya still is outwardly the same sweet person she once was around her family, she's not that person anymore. She's a stone-cold killer, hell-bent on revenge. And this fundamental change in her character was perfectly illustrated when she told Jon how smart Sansa was. That tells me that Arya is no longer on the level with Jon. Their moral compasses are no longer aligned. Jon Snow still possesses that innocent, natural instinct for what is right and what is wrong. Those lines became blurred for Arya long ago. And I don't think that bodes well for her, even if I think she will inevitably kick some major ass before her demise. Watch your step, Cersei.
If it's a Dragon Queen she's after...
She has other plans for the Targaryen girl.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
She doesn't need to be my friend. But I am her queen.
You picked the losing side.
Then I'll sail the Iron Fleet somewhere else.
When can we expect your people to arrive?
Your Grace, I'm afraid I bring terrible news. The dead have broken through the wall.
Daenerys is our queen.
She shouldn't be.
That's treason.
It's the truth.
Lord Glover wishes us good fortune, but he's staying in Deepwood Mont with his men.
You gave up your crown to save your people. Would she do the same?
At the end of the day, all of the major players seem power-hungry, bar one. Cersei is obviously all about acquiring and maintaining power and influence. Euron Greyjoy is all about improving his lot while remaining opportunistic in his lust for power. Daenerys certainly enjoys the limelight that comes with her considerable power and influence. And Sansa appears to be planning a strong power play of her own. At least it seemed so to me. All of these characters possess a certain stubbornness in their respective desires for power and all that that entails. If Arya is hell-bent on revenge, which I think we can all agree she is, then these characters are all hell-bent on obtaining more power. The exception here, of course, is Jon Snow. He's the only one that doesn't want the responsibility of such great power and influence. This, despite the fact that he's one of the few natural leaders in the known Game of Thrones universe. The fact that Jon Snow is yet again being coerced into the role of the reluctant leader, I still think a hero's death awaits him. And that would mean one of the power-hungry characters will ultimately be left in charge. After this first episode, I'm becoming increasingly convinced that there is a very strong likelihood that the last one standing will wind up being Sansa Stark. Anyway, Jon Snow rides a mean dragon, and whatever his ultimate fate, it seems inevitable that he will kick a lot of ass too. The preview for next week suggests that Giantsbane gets the warning to Jon Snow in time, and this first episode otherwise put all the pieces in place for a lot of upcoming conflict between various characters. I think everything feels very nicely set up for a very strong finish, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how these final 5 episodes unfold. Long live Queen Cersei. So what did you think of the season premiere of the final season of Game of Thrones? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night.
How do I compare to the Fat King?
Fat, is it? Is that how you speak to your king?
You're insulting my late husband.
Are you offended?
Stay back, he's got blue eyes!
I've always had blue eyes!
Robert had a different whore every night. But he still didn't know his way around a woman's body.
And a Kingslayer.
Does she like it gentle or rough? The finger in the bum.
You heard the hand. The king's too fat for his armor. Go find the breastplate stretcher. Now!
I don't know how to ride a dragon.
Nobody does, until they ride a dragon.
You might be the most arrogant man I've ever met. I like that.
What if he doesn't want me to?